We're talking a lot already. But first of all, welcome back, guys. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Erika. And we are Living Understaffed, the podcast about not having enough hands or hours. I mean, your best is just not very good.
And the great thing is that I am in North Carolina right now, and we are recording in the same space. I was thinking about it the other day. It's been almost 2 years since I've seen you in person.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it a few episodes back, but when you PCS to North Carolina, it was like the occasional monthly, also I want to have a drink in my hand. I'm trying to be cognizant of our photographer over here taking photos. Anyway,
we have a professional photographer.
That's correct. And she's excellent.
Freckle face photography. She's amazing.
So
you can find her on Instagram. We will put her Instagram in the show notes. Because if we're here for anything, it's shameless plugs.
Correct. So yeah, I think you PCS to North Carolina. We talked monthly to just, check in. How are you? And then the podcast came from, she was really stressed out. We were catching up. Ironically, I was at Starbucks doing an IT certification program, and I hated my life. And with that came, oh my God, we're living understaffed. And then it was like, you mean we should add another project to our plate and be completely consumed with it all the time? Like me, Erika, she's probably annoyed with me by now and won't say anything. But every time we talk on the phone, I'm like, so I thought about an idea.
No, I love it. Because I think about it all the time. I could be I have a notebook. I have a notebook at work. I have one in my car. I have one everywhere. Whenever I think of an idea, I write it down. I am absolutely just because it's so, and I also, the way that I think about it, it's not oh, these are just ideas. It's now okay, this is an idea, but I don't want to do too many really research heavy episodes all in a row. I want to do one that's kind of like this, or the last couple of weeks, admittedly. Also, we've been had zero. It's not oh, we're going to have this episode and then we have a buffer. We have not had a buffer.
Not a buffer in weeks. In weeks. And it's been all of the editing that gets put into an episode. It is time consuming. It takes time. For any of you that have ever done audio visual work or videography, it takes time to put editing into it. Even photo editing, it takes time and effort and energy. So when you're doing a 2-hour-long video and you're putting together reels and you're doing all this stuff, it's time. And when we moved over to weekly episodes, that is one thing that we were that me, especially because I think I pushed Erika, initially, I was yes, we should totally go to weekly. But the amount of time that's spent doing the editing, I'm I fucked myself. I fucked myself moving to weekly episodes, but it was worse now that we don't have an episode or two banked. So also, the understaffed portion of my life is traveling to North Carolina. Not that I'm necessarily understaffed, but the prep at work and getting things done to make sure that I had time to get here. It's a 16-hour drive. I went to Charlotte first and spent the night and then came here. There's a whole time frame that I have to account for, right? I obviously can't edit during that time. And I have to drive home on Monday and it's a holiday weekend. So there's also the time taken from Monday.
Also, don't lie. If you could figure out a way to safely drive and edit at the same time, you would.
Well, it would be a problem if I had a self-driving car.
Yeah.
It would be a problem. Hands down. Because I would edit. I would have edited the entire way here.
I think there's an Amtrak. Selena, you would know this. There's the Amtrak station in Fayetteville. Is that the bus station where the train?
No, that's Greyhound.
Well, there's also an Amtrak.
Yeah, the Amtrak. Station. So there is an Amtrak out of St. Louis that I could fucking edit on the way here too. But it takes
days.
Not necessarily days, but it might take 2 days versus the 1 day that it took me to get here.
But from here to DC on a train.
Well, because I'll be in DC 6 or 7 times a year for a whole week. So that being said, the understaffed portion of my life isn't entirely understaffed per se. However, this week I had an interview for a huge, huge job in Georgia. Huge job. It's a promotion. It's very exciting. It's like a program manager type position.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still in the international student world. And I am like,
she's so excited.
I'm so excited. So the job is at a different base in Georgia, which means that Erika and I will live 4 hours apart, roughly.
I'm so excited.
So managing expectations, also manifesting, also really like putting myself
in 2025. I'm saying this because I've heard this so many times in my life, like manage your expectations. And I do this to myself still. Like I have to like check myself and be like, be an actual adult. It's gonna, if they call you and they're like, no, we decided to go with someone else, you're gonna be devastated anyway. Why not shoot for the moon? Why not have your entire life in Georgia planned out already? It's gonna suck the same amount.
That's true. It is true. Have I already started looking at apartments? Yes. Have I already started looking at potential like investment properties to buy?
Mhm.
Yes. Like I have already started looking at these things. And then on a completely like selfish level, I'm like, do you know what the podcast will look like? If we're in the same time zone, can we talk about that? Even though it's an hour difference, still helpful.
The difference between 8:30 and 9:30 is such a big difference.
Is wild. But then also, if you're looking at like, not just the time zone portion, but with a promotion, right? There's a little bit of a money incentive there, right? The equipment that we could upgrade, maybe we can get to a point that the editing we outsource and I don't have to fucking do it anymore.
Or at least pay for a subscription to better software.
Correct. Or storage.
So it doesn't take you as much time.
No, this is, for the record, it's one of the better softwares that you can get for video editing. However, it's time consuming.
Yeah.
So like if we contract out to somebody on Fiverr or some intern students or college students that want to get some like work experience video editing, like I will teach. Whatever. So yes, eventually we could get to that point.
Also, you'll teach them so that they do it exactly the way you want them to do it.
Am I a control freak? 1,000%. Like
you and I are both. We're like, I am kind of go with the flow with a lot of things now. We were also talking about this earlier.
Correct.
It is not worth my time to be so particular about like how things are and how somebody else does certain things, like, or like what, like, like have a specific plan for like what we're going to do today. 25-year-old me would have had our entire with a schedule. And if we deviated from the schedule, I would have gotten anxiety. I'm better about that now just because shit.
Now, and it's so funny too, because I showed up and I got here the morning of Valentine's Day. And I was like, okay, what time do I need to leave for this tattoo appointment? Because you said it's like 25 minutes. And she's staring at the clock. And I'm like, and I'm not even letting her answer. She's just staring at the clock on the stove. And I'm like, okay, so if it's 25 minutes, we should leave by this time because that gives us like a 15-minute cushion and we'll be there a little early.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh my God, there's an actual adult with me. Like, yes.
Part of, I think this is also something we're fucking derailing so bad. Going from being, and Emma will attest to this. I went from when I was younger, when I would like I was very like regimented and I always made sure that like everyone was where they were supposed to be on time. And like, because I used to drive, I helped Emma with her homework and I made sure that my sisters went to their piano lessons on time. And I made sure that like I went to all of Emma's like concerts and like school plays and stuff. And I like all of that shit, like, making sure that I had all that stuff handled. And then I was married and I had another person that I could do that for. And now I don't have anybody to do that for. And I never learned how to take care of myself. Oh my sweet Jesus.
Did she fart again?
Yes.
Oh my God. You guys can't see this in the video, but there are 2 very, very sweet sleepy dogs on the couch with
They're so
us.
cute.
And
Daisy.
you've talked about it on the show before, but Daisy's farts are next level nasty.
And I know you were like, yeah, all dog farts are bad.
No. The worst part is just that I've been in the line of fire now, and I'm like, gross. It's so disgusting.
They're so
bad. And then earlier, Athena farted, and you guys blamed Daisy, and Daisy was like, ooh? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I love that so much. But yes, it's been pretty brutal. Look at her face. Oh. I'm going to superimpose the photo into the show because the 2 of them just laying here is just absolutely adorable and heartbreaking at the same time.
You're their Aunt Sarah now.
Correct. I'm trying to think. So what do we discussed? We had a really good clip to we prepped recording before we started this show, and our clip was really good. So I'm trying to
we were talking about, because you were talking about not being with the garbage man anymore.
Yes. On an understaffed level, I have been kind of in the dumps, pun intended, about ending things with the garbage man. So with a potential job coming in, with me moving and uprooting my whole life to Georgia, it was one of those that I need to be selfish and focus on me and focus on my career, where I spent 10 years following someone literally around the world for their career. And so now I'm I have this amazing career opportunity and I have nothing holding me back. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I'm not in a committed relationship. But even if I was, long distance is hard. Long distance is hard. And so the garbage man and I had some pretty difficult conversations. And I ended up just being I can't. I can't. And he's amazing in a sense of his response to all of that was really, it could have been so much more petty. And we've all been a part of those those breakup scenarios that they oh, well, I did all of these things for you, or you were, whatever. He was not like that. He was I understand. I get it. Long distance is already hard enough. And then add in multiple states between us. There's, I get it. So it was a sad breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's just talk about more green flags. Then he fought for me after the fact and was I still want to be with you. I still want to be together. I want to make this work. I like you. I know you like me. Let's do this. And I just ran like a baby deer scared and was yeah, I can't.
But also because you also were talking about how somebody can have a lot of green flags, but there's something off, something in your gut. And that could be
yes,
healing you have to do, which honestly, knowing us both, that's probably something that you need to do. But also there's a difference between having all of those green flags and looking for something versus you're not seeing any red flags, but
instinctually there's something
feels off.
And I will say, we did have a couple conversations about that where, behind closed doors, I'm there's just something. And and we've talked about this, that whole healing from divorce, healing from childhood trauma, healing just from being a fucking functioning adult in today's economy. It's garbage.
It's garbage. And we have good jobs.
So there's there is the possibility that my brain was just oh, this is too good to be true. And you need to self-sabotage immediately because it's too good to be true. Or there's the possibility that I had an instinct kicking in. And we talked about this, but it's just, there was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on or pinpoint what it exactly was. And maybe that's a survival mechanism coming into play. Maybe it's my instincts coming in to save the day, or I'm a scared puppy and I've not really experienced how good something could be. But for anyone who has been in past shitty relationships, even if they were mediocre, I need to tell you that the bar is no longer in hell. Like it is to a certain extent. It's not that hard to open doors for women. It's not that hard to pay for dinner. Am I still willing to pay for dinner myself?
Yeah.
100%. But it's not hard to put away the dishes or do the dishes or put in a little bit of effort. It's not that fucking hard. In that aspect, the bar is in hell.
Yeah.
But for the person, especially after Garbage Man, especially after, and we're going to talk about Jelly's dad.
Yeah.
But like, especially after talking with Jelly's dad and Poly Guy, there are all of these men that have popped up in our lives that are just giving us reason to not lower our standards. If anything, they have risen them.
Yeah.
And I thank them for that because cooking is a must. You don't have to be a goddamn chef, but you have to be able to take care of yourself. Cleaning up, picking up after yourself. Those are basic things that you as a human should be able to do. If you are at whatever age and you're still taking your laundry to your mom's house on the weekends, that's a no for me. That's hands down a no for me. It's not necessarily a problem. Maybe your washer's broken, but get a new washer then. Figure it out. Be a goddamn adult, right?
Yes. Also, I was talking about this with Emma earlier when it's like, it's not even about like, this is what you need to do to be in a relationship with me, because there's levels, right?
Of course.
There's levels, but also like, if I'm going to give you my time, if you want to have access to my time and my body, you have to do these things.
Correct.
And if you don't want to do them, that's fine.
But then you don't have access.
But then you don't have access. Like if a guy is like, oh, these are things that like I want and I don't want to do those things, that's fine. Like that's fine. Everybody has their own like
boundaries.
And like that's totally fine. But it's not, I think I spent a lot of time being like, well, they deserve work. And I have a whole tangent about the whole concept of like deserving something
and compromising for something else.
And
it's not the same.
It's not the same. And it doesn't mean anything. It's just something that people say like, oh, you deserve that. I'm like, what does that mean?
So I was talking to Poly Guy about that today, where it was like, he is wonderful and he is an amazing human and I love spending time with him. But we're both moving, right? Yeah. And also I am saying that definitively from a manifestation level. I'm moving to Georgia.
Absolutely. You are.
So we're both moving. Like he's PCSing to Texas. I'm coming to Georgia. And like, as amazing as it is to like spend time with him, he's also poly. So then the question comes into play, like, it's not a negative. It's not a negative thing. But the question comes into play if that is something that, look at these two dogs. They're just so cute. I cannot. Anyway, it just, the amount of me that like has the realization, like, would I date someone that's poly? I know that now. Whereas before I was kind of like, I don't know. But also coming to the realization of like, I know that if I were to be in a poly relationship, I want to be the primary person. I want to be who you're like committed to, right? Versus anything. And so Poly Guy, that's something that he said tonight, that he was like, you're the first person since I've been in a relationship with my person. You're the first person that makes me want to figure out long-term how to do both, how to have both of you. And again, while I melted, is that a sustainable thing?
Yeah.
And for me, the long distance thing is a no. Like, okay, Georgia to South Carolina, North Carolina, possible. Georgia to California, no. Georgia to Europe, no. Like, I do have boundaries in that sense. But also, I'm in that selfish era where my career is going to come first for now. Yeah. I still have my family. My family is going to be first. And then my career. But boyfriends and dating and all of that, you do not matter in the grand scheme of my life right now. Yeah. And if that person comes along, we'll figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that way too, especially since like, I mean, and also the military doesn't really give you a choice, but even before that, like with Nolan, I shouldn't say that. I didn't necessarily make a lot of sacrifices, but I was willing to before he joined the army. And then he did. And I was completely willing to do that. Like,
yes.
there was no pressure from him to like give up my career or anything like that for his career. But I did because I wanted to, because of the relationship we were in. I don't want to do that now. I don't want to do that. Like, I was talking to my therapist like months ago, and I was like, I feel like my life is falling apart, but like in a good way.
First of all, we need t-shirts that say that, because that's called healing. That's called movement. That's called like growth even, you know, that's wonderful. But it is a feeling of like, we talked about this when I fucking had a meltdown while we were recording. Your body is so used to being in survival mode because you're just trying to take care of yourself, and you're trying to have a career, and you're trying to have a social life, and you're trying not to have a meltdown, and you're trying to do all of these things until you get to a point where you are doing those things and there's no chaos. There's no spiraling. And then your body is like, what are we doing?
I also, you and I are both like this, where things are going great and we're like, ooh, if I don't ruin it,
I must destroy this immediately.
At least I have control.
Yeah.
Because this is off.
Hey friends, let's talk about something we all cherish, our memories. Whether it's old family photos, home videos, or those special moments that define our lives, they deserve more than a shoebox or a cluttered cloud drive. That's where Forever comes in. Forever is your permanent digital home for preserving, organizing, sharing your most treasured memories without ads, without data mining, and with a guarantee for generations to come. There's a need to digitize old photos and home movies that have been stuck on that VHS. Forever makes it easy. Do you want secure private cloud storage? You pay once and you own it for a lifetime plus 100 years. If you love creating custom photo books, I definitely do. Gifts, coffee cups, blankets, keepsakes. Forever has the options that you'll love. If you want the best deals, join Forever Club. Not only do you get nearly 5% off everything, but you also earn free storage every 3 months and get access to exclusive calls with the Forever founder. So your memories deserve more than just a temporary fix or a thumb drive that we've lost. Or, you know, I've even worked with a couple people that their external hard drives have all of a sudden stopped working. So let's try to avoid that. You deserve Forever. And the link is in the show notes, and we'll link it to this video as well. Good luck out there. Let me know if you have any questions.
Somebody was telling me about their experience with PTSD. And one of the things is, it's like being blindfolded and you know somebody is going to punch you, but you don't know where it's coming from or when it's coming. And I'm like, oh no, I feel that every time something is like every time I can't see like a disaster coming towards me, that is how I feel. And I'm like,
it's a really good and terrible way to put it.
Yeah. And then it's like, and to me, I'm like, I will antagonize the person who is doing the punching in this. It's like a metaphorical, like, way to fuck up your life, so that it's like, I just want to get it over with. Because I know it's coming.
Then you have the control over it.
Yes.
Which is a trauma response.
Yes. And it might not be coming.
Yeah, it might not at all. Okay, visiting Erika has been, obviously it's a new year, but it's been the highlight of 2025 so far. Also, she's going to come down to Georgia and help me move into my new place, which, excellent. Because also we're going to have to scope out the local bars, scope out the local places. We're going to have to find the coffee shop.
Yes.
Also, you're going to have to help me find a salon, because I hate the fact that I'm going to have to tell Becca that I will no longer be a client. And it's going to give me anxiety to get off of her nail rotation schedule.
It was horrible. Let me tell you, it was horrible. I was so sad.
Yes. So, and then with travel all of the time, I want to make sure that my nails are on point.
And then I had to find a new nail person, and it took the first time I had somebody, I'm like, they did not do this right, and they charged me twice as much.
Fuck everything. That is something that I am terrified about. And I have a really good salon, not that you can tell right now, but I have a really good hairstylist.
You can tell you have a really good hairstylist because your grow out is graceful.
Yes. But girl, the price is also going to be a difference moving to the East Coast. So
there's a reason why I dye my own hair.
So the really cool thing about this episode so far is that Erika and I have had a lot of time in person and we talk all the time, but this has been a lot of like good bonding, good conversation, like her roommates and stuff, her sister.
Also, we got tattoos yesterday.
So as of right now, we are sitting on the couch in her house and we've been like vegging out this afternoon on a charcuterie board.
Yes.
Shout out to my ex-wife for the charcuterie reference because it is not charcuterie. It is a penis-shaped charcuterie board. Excuse me, charcuterie board.
Yeah.
We will make stickers because that's fucking hilarious.
Along with my life is falling apart in a good way.
So anyway,
I think there should also be a complimentary sticker that says bitch that's called healing.
That's good.
That's what you said.
That's true. You're right. That was genius.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we disturb you? She looked at me like,
oh, yeah, she will. She's like, be more considerate.
Yeah. This is my house.
It is her house.
So
both of them have lived here longer than me. I think I told you about this episode is gonna be a fucking mess and it's gonna be great.
It's fine.
I told you about $200 guy.
Yes.
Right?
To the general population of our listeners, can you explain what the $200 guy means?
So $200 guy gave me $200 to get my nails done and to get a pedicure, which was very nice. I was like, you don't have to do that. And he was like, no, I want to. And I was like, okay. Thanks. Thanks. Because like I'm a strong, independent woman. Like I pay for my own shit, but like if you want to pay me for that's fine.
Correct.
I'm not going to say no. And so he gave me $200, and then he called me like.
Did you have to show him pictures of when it was done?
No, that was a different guy.
Oh.
That guy just sent me money for a pedicure and was like, will you take pictures after? And I was like, sure. That's why we call him $200 guy. But after that, I was talking to him on the phone, and this was like very, very in the beginning of like, I think I'd only seen him like, or been seeing him for not even a month.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still like very in the beginning. And I was like, yeah, like, and I had moved, and it was right after I got Daisy, and I was like, hey, like, yeah, like, moving is wild, and like, and I adopted this dog because it was exciting and it was important to me, because Daisy is so cute, the sweetest, sweet baby angel
so
that
precious.
She is. Yeah, yes. The most precious little bean. And Daisy is a pit bull. So is Athena. They are both delightful. Pit bull haters have no place here.
Correct.
Correct. And he was like, first of all, he was like, all the like ignorant bullshit that people say about pit bulls like immediately came out of his mouth. And I was like,
first of all, you're disgusting.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Don't like that. And then he also was like, goes off on he's like, he said, when I come over to your house, you better put your dog up. And I was like,
I'm sorry, when will that be? Because I said never.
right? I was like, first of all, this is her house.
Correct. You don't have a fucking say.
No, I'm not. She lives here.
Wow.
And then at the end of all of that, after I was like, excuse me. And after he gave me a really stupid and very clearly false tutorial about how to avoid getting bit by a dog. It was
what?
Yes. Did I not tell you that? He's like, oh yeah, if a dog is biting you, you just lift up their back legs because you'll need that with a pit bull. And I was like, you're so fucking stupid. Yes. Yes.
Your face says it all.
Yes. I'm like, and then after all of that, he's like, so do you want to talk dirty to me? And I was like, no.
In fact, not at all.
I do not.
Wow.
I do not. And he's like, oh, you're not horny? And I was like,
after that, how couldn't I be?
yeah, I was
weird.
Like, why? And it immediately comes out of my mouth. I was like, why would I be? And he was like, I don't know. I'm like, there's no way.
There's not.
This man is 2 years older than I am. How are you almost 40? And he does not have the hairline or the looks to be acting like that.
Not true. I'm interrupting for a minute. Can we talk about how I discovered that I'm already 35 years old?
She's like, I'm turning 35. And I was like, oh, I just turned 35. Wild. And then I mentioned that the year I was born was 1990. And she's like, wait, I was born in 1989. And we're like, bitch.
Literally for 2 years, I've been telling people that I'm 34. I've already turned 35 and I don't know how I don't remember my birthday last year. So I don't remember if I oh my God, I'm 35. And then just, it didn't click in my head.
Because we were doing the podcast and you talked about your birthday.
That is, I swear to God, I'm not this dumb. I swear.
Selena does not believe you.
I don't understand. Listen. And in my head, I was like, I missed a good...
Yeah, a milestone
birthday. And I'm not going to get it now because I'm turning 36.
Also, can we talk about how I remember my mom would be like, God, how old am I? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're so old. How do you
not know?
And
now I'm that person.
I'm that person.
Fuck you. You didn't miss a whole year, you dumb bitch. It's me.
You're stronger.
I know. You know when you remember as a kid, they used to tell you that when you were pointing at someone and tattling on someone, that you have to remember that 3 fingers are pointing back at you. That's me right now, where I'm like, you're a dumb bitch, but actually,
I'm the dumb
it's
bitch.
Me.
Also, I remember when my mom turned 40 and my mom had a birthday party. Or I think she was turning 45. Yes, she was turning 45 and she had a big party because I think it was her first milestone birthday after she and my dad split up, which great. She deserved it. He's a piece of shit. Hi, Dad.
Shout out to Dad.
I don't think he listens to this podcast. And as previously stated, if he does, he's going to find out that I have my nipples pierced, which is going to be a lot worse for him than me. So,
well,
it's going to be fine.
It's fine.
Also, this is something that is important to me and talks about female empowerment. Those neither things
that he would be interested in.
No. So it's fine.
Yep.
God, I hope he listens.
There's a piece of me that's like,
ooh. But I think I was 15 and I remember being yeah, my mom should celebrate her 45th birthday. What is she
what's there to lose? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
But guess what? I can't celebrate my 35th birthday now because it's over. Almost a year ago.
But now I'm like, oh my God, like 45 is not.
Let's get to 40 first. I have a year less to worry about to get to 40. So there's going to be a birthday party for both of us at 40. There has to be now because I didn't get one for 35. What the fuck? What was I doing?
You went to
Chicago. I went to see my ex-wife.
Yes, you did.
That's right. Yeah. So, but I'll be living on the East Coast now. So then maybe we will watching that on the video and her taking pictures and you taking it. Like, it's really funny to see all three of that. But yeah, this episode is a shit show.
A hilarious shit show.
Erika did already mention this though, but we did get tattoos.
We did get tattoos.
We got semi-matching tattoos, but the theme is Let Them, which is a poem that I'll put in the show notes. But the essential thing when we talk about energy and effort that people put into relationships and friendships, Let Them is a poem that I found, and I can't remember her name, and I'll put it in here. But Let Them is a poem that I found a few years ago that was like, if your partner is awful and doesn't want to pay attention to you, let them. If your partner doesn't contribute financially and doesn't help you put gas in the car, doesn't help you fill up the air in your tires, let them, right?
First of all.
But
I didn't need to be called out like that. You know who doesn't? You know who's the dumb bitch that doesn't put air in her tires?
By put air in her tires, you mean go to Quick Lube and let them do it for you because you didn't. Yes. So anyway, the flip side of that poem is, and this is part of that, the flip side of that poem is, and again, Erika and I have talked a lot about dating in general, but if someone is willing to treat you like the fucking royalty that you are, let them. If someone is willing to come to your house and fix your door because you're not doing it yourself, let them. If they're willing to cook for you, they're willing to pamper you, they're willing to take you on a date and open doors for you and drive you places, let them.
I'm feeling very called out right now.
No, it's just you. It's garbage man. Like, it's also these beautiful things and all of these like wonderful green flags, and knowing that we're setting the bar a little bit higher for the people that are in our lives. And that is not just, and I'm saying this into the camera, Sarah Green, that is not just for dating, but that is for your friendships also. I know that I have some friendships that are not entirely healthy and have their toxic traits. And those are things that, like, on a friendship level, I know that I need to ixnay from my life because I don't have the energy to consistently put up with your shit all the goddamn time just because we've been friends for X number of years.
Yeah.
No, I have more worth for myself. And like Erika, this is honestly, guys, this is the theme of today's episode is effort and energy, because in our 30s, now late 30s, Sarah. But like in our 30s, it's been a realization of energy takes mental and physical effort to put into things like friendships, like relationships, like work, like podcasts, like hobbies, things that you want to do and things that you have to do to pay bills, right? Taking good pictures of your feet, those kinds of things. So it's kind of a dig on our photographer. I love you. Anyway, so just I'm really coming to the point that like being a more blunt and direct person is who I want to be, because beating around the bush and constantly, and I am a people pleaser. I am an acts of service, love language type. Constantly pleasing people instead of getting directly to the point. I can do both. I can be direct and still take care of a person. And I apologize in advance because sometimes that doesn't come across as me just being a bitch, but I want to be as direct as possible with people because it is a waste of time to sit there and beat around the bush and try to save someone's feelings to get to the point that you're probably going to hurt their feelings anyway.
Yes. And also, like as women, it is more important to like society that we're nice versus we're like
a man.
Yes. It's like, and I think it was one of our earlier episodes, it's more important to be, women are seen as likable or competent, but not both,
Correct.
which is upsetting.
Correct.
But also, yeah, like it is not, it's not my job, but also you can't just be like, being direct isn't bad. And I think there was, at least in my family, like there was no, but it is important that we sort of move past this. And I think a lot of people, it's not like a lot of people grew up in households like this where like having your needs met, if that means inconveniencing somebody else, it was a huge fucking deal.
Yes.
And you sort of carry that into the rest of your life. And now being like, it was somehow seen, at least like I saw this in my mom, and I know a lot of other people did. Like, part of it was like she would sacrifice her own needs and become resentful. And instead of people being like, your communication sucks, maybe you should work on that. It was like, oh, she's a martyr. She like sacrifices everything for these people in her life. And I was absolutely like that. Definitely like having younger sisters and like putting myself last, and being married to somebody who putting myself last, and everyone's like, oh, like you're such a good woman or a good wife or a good sister or a good daughter. And that didn't really do me any favors.
No.
Whereas
No.
you can still be a good person
and put yourself first.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. So I had this conversation with the potential job offer coming up. There's a coworker of mine that she and I were talking, and we were just sort of like, so she asked me about what the new job was going to be. What does that look like with the promotion and everything? And I'm explaining it to her, and I was like, listen, like it's still in the international student family. So I know what the fuck I'm talking about. When it comes from like the administration, why am I saying that weird? When it comes from the administration side.
It's because of your old age.
What? You're so pleased with yourself. Look at your smile. You're such an asshole. But the piece of me that when I was talking to her that I was like, this is pompous or this is cocky, but, and she was like, no. She's like, if a man were saying the things that you were saying, he would not be considered pompous or cocky.
No.
He would be considered going after the job that he wants.
Yes.
And I was like,
yes. He's confident.
You're right. Confident. Yes. But for me, I don't know if it's like, am I trying to be humble? Yes. But do I also know what the fuck I'm talking about? And do I also know that I would crush and enjoy that job with so much of my soul? Also, yes. So you better believe that when they contacted me for an interview, I responded via email with exclamation points and said, not necessarily verbatim, but I said, I'm pretending not to internally scream right now. I would absolutely love this interview. Let me pick this time slot on this day. Right? She responded. And I'm like, And okay, we've all been there. We've all done like administration where you're like, don't use so many exclamation points and make sure that you minimize the number of emojis or smiley faces that you put in an email. And I'm like, I get it. I have a super niche job, but I do it all the time. And I'm still a good person, and I'm still professional, and I'm still a go-getter, and I'm still passionate about my job. Like,
yeah, I think also the definition of professionalism has changed a lot in the last, that was harrowing.
That was, I was like, so I know the listeners can't see this, but one of the dogs got up and like switched positions to the opposite side of the couch. And so I'll superimpose the image that I took of our setup, but there are wires fucking everywhere. And we have wine glasses and beverages and laptops on, and she farted and I'm going to die. But like, then we have like our laptops on stands with the cameras on top with these
perilously stacked on other things.
So she got up and moved, and I was like, hold on to everything. Like, if anything was going to break, I don't give a shit about the wine glass. I'm sorry, but we have to save the laptops.
Yes.
Because they're old.
They are. Respect the elderly, okay?
Next time you insult me, that's exactly what I'm gonna fucking say to you too. Asshole.
I was talking about the computer.
Too late now.
Oh my god. I'm just glad.
So
I'm not the
I
oldest
can't.
person in this house right now, and I'm just really
Athena
enjoying
is.
it.
Because Athena is. You dumb bitch.
What? It was one of my roommate, Selena. It was one of her friends. And he was like, I'm the oldest person in this house right now. And I was like, I don't think you are. And he was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, how old are you? And he's like,
28.
No, he was like, I'm 23. And I don't know what it's like. And he's like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 35. And I swear to God, he spit out his water. And he was like, you look really good for 35. I'm like, thank you. Appreciate it.
Never say that to a woman again. Let me teach you, youngling. Don't ever fucking say that again.
If he wasn't already so embarrassed,
Oh,
I'm like, he's never gonna say that again because he knows what he did.
good.
And it legitimately was meant well. He was like trying to recover. So I'm like, okay. He wasn't like, oh, I'm paying you a compliment. He's like, that's exactly what was happening in his brain.
In his dumb brain.
In his dumb boy
I'm
brain.
going to make a reel out of this, and Selena, you can send it to him because never do that again. That's a real piece of life advice from an elder. Never do that again.
Oh my God.
I can't.
Dude, it was really funny. It was so funny. And we all laughed at him. Everyone laughed.
Relentlessly. It better have been relentlessly.
It was.
Hi, my name is Trisha, and I am the Vice President of the nonprofit Casey Book Beat. We aim to connect readers with local literary talent, fostering a deeper appreciation for the stories that shape our community. Through this catalog and our local events, we want to provide a platform for authors, bookstores, and publishers to reach a wider audience and strengthen their presence in Kansas City. We have so many amazing events coming up in the year 2025. We have our Writers' Workshop in January. We have a children's book fair in April and so many more, including our Casey Lit and Libations in May and November. Love to see you.
When we're talking about effort between relationships, friendships, even Erika and I, we put in specific effort to make sure that we're checking in with each other, but also calling each other out. Mm-hmm. Because and we've talked about it on previous episodes before, but if there's times that I haven't heard from her for a day or two, in all caps, I will just put checking in via text. And she'll be like, oh, fuck, sorry, I didn't even know it was 2 days since I've talked to you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we don't have to talk every day.
No, but there's definitely like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm alive because both of us, we both have moved a lot and we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot of like really major changes in a really short amount of time. And like sometimes it can be really overwhelming. Like when I was moving into the place I'm living now, like I'm really thankful for the situation I'm in. Like truly, I live with my sister and I live with like my roommate and we all get along really well and we have a really good vibe in the house. And like, it's just a really good living situation, honestly. But it took a lot of like work up front to sort of like get all of my stuff moved out. And I was moving out of my ex-husband's house and like, it was just like a process emotionally and physically. And I just remember like, even at work, I was just putting like one foot in front of the other and people would like reach out, like, not just Sarah, like other people would be like, you good? No.
Absolutely not.
I absolutely no. But I'm doing my best. And it like that time was not that long ago. And it's like, we were talking about it. Like that's why we don't have episodes banked like we normally do, just because like there were so many times when Sarah is such a fucking G for this. So she's like, can you record? Like, are you mentally okay enough to record? And I'm like, no. No.
I think it's good too, like in a sense of friendship and a sense of like getting older and having a little more understanding of my mental health where, and to, I don't know, maybe to my own credit, I just went through a pretty rough divorce a couple of years ago. And so I know that, you know, Erica's going through this one particular phase of the divorce of like moving out of her ex-husband's house and moving in somewhere. And you never know. And to Selena's credit, she's amazing. But like, you never know when you go into a roommate situation if it's like a too good to be true and then it turns out to be not. Or if you're moving into a situation that's going to be healthy and help you with healing and help you with saving money and help you with these things. It's also where I'm at now too. So like I also know how much effort it takes. And mentally, when you're just trying to make it through the day without having a fucking mental breakdown in your car at lunch, which has happened hundreds of times in the last few years, I check in. And that's also a friend thing. That's also something that I do for my people. But she also does that for me too. So that effort piece that while we have been through similar experiences in the last couple of years, it is also our friendship to just check in and be like, yo, how are things? That's something that I feel like we do for other people in our lives, not just because we have a podcast, not just because had both gone through a divorce, not just because of those things, but for each other. And like, can we also throw in that we have a really good rapport, but we also have this really good connection that we can record and start an entire fucking business, an entire podcast from 2 different states. And now getting to spend the weekend together in person, I feel like even more invigorated and getting to record. Like, I'm not even looking at the camera to look at you. I'm looking at you on the couch. And I'm so like pumped about that because I feel like this is basically for me solidifying the fact that we can make this happen for the next however many years. Whether it's 2 years, whether it's 10 years, I don't really care. This is a hobby that I really fucking love. And Living Understaffed has become a brand and it's become part of my identity where I'm like, oh, also, so one quick story and then we can wrap up a little bit. This morning, so we went out for emo prom last night, which was dope.
It was amazing.
I'll put a couple pictures up, or at least I put a couple pictures up on Instagram already, so you guys should go look at those. We had so much fun. We got a little drunk. Jelly's dad came with and was a DD, and we probably tomorrow or the next episode that we have, we'll talk about effort in our partners. Because we've got green flag stories for days. So we went out to emo prom. I got here at like 9:30 in the morning and we went and got tattoos, which is the whole let them thing. We came back here and on just like a friend energy level, we both took a nap. We got some food. The food was from this Mexican food truck that was outstanding. But we came back here, we ate food, and we both knocked the fuck out for like 3 hours. Yeah. And it was excellent.
Delightful.
And then it was so good. So then we get ready and we go to emo prom. And let me tell you, so we went to a couple of different places. Also, shout out to Sarah Neal, who I knew back in Wiesbaden, who recognized me from across the bar and came over and said hi to me. So like we caught up for a minute, caught up with her husband. Like, it is a small world after all. So anyway, like then we went to this other bar that we have reels about that now are validated. And what's it called again?
Patty's.
We went to Patty's. That is like Club Rodeo. So for our Fort Leonard Wood and Fort Bragg listeners, Fort
Liberty
listeners,
soon to be Fort Bragg
again. Patty's is just like Club Rodeo at Leonard Wood. So, but the difference is Patty's has two sides to it, and Club Rodeo has more of like a. I think it's supposed to be like upstairs. A piano bar.
Yeah.
On the side. No, the upstairs is still part of the club.
Oh, yeah.
But there is a piano bar. That's where we did karaoke a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
When we went to that hunk show. So, yes. But also, Patty's Bar had an emo DJ. And it was so much fun. We were only there for like an hour and a half, but God, we were singing along to all the songs.
Yes.
Enjoying the people watching because God knows there was a small group of airborne guys sitting up at the DJ booth, clapping and chanting. And like, it was typical Fort Bragg airborne dude shit. So like,
it was soldier shit is what it was.
Fort Bragg soldier shit.
Yeah.
It was very funny and wildly entertaining. I'm a people watcher. So like that was so good.
It was great.
It was so good. So then we came home and we slept in, and then we went and we ran some errands this morning, but we went to a coffee shop, and what was it called?
Clutch Coffee.
Clutch Coffee. So for those of you that are in like the Bragg area, like Clutch Coffee is pretty dope. So we go to this coffee shop, and they were like, they handed us our drinks, and they're like, and you guys get free stickers because it's sticker day. And I was like, oh my, I have, of course, because I'm a marketing freak, had stickers and business cards in my purse. And I was like, hold on. I was like, you guys are giving us stickers, but can I give you stickers? And they were like, sure. Like their face at first was like, all right. And I screamed, I threw myself over Erika's lap in the driver's side. And I was like, we run a podcast. And then both of them were like, oh my God, I listen to podcasts all the time. What is it called? We give them stickers. And there's all these things like being in North Carolina and like sharing that same physical space with Erika has been like, again, refreshing and sort of like reinvigorates why we do this podcast. But like our friendship is still so solid and so strong that like I'm so pumped because that just tells me that we can still continue to do this from two different places and we'll be fine.
And so when we were getting tattoos, my tattoo artist we were talking about stuff, and she was like, oh, we have a podcast, and we were talking about stuff, and she was like, one thing that I love about this podcast so much is that when I tell people about it, they're like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
And when and everything, just being like understaffed, you're like, I am understaffed, it's just me in here. And they're like, I understand completely. And then we talk about other, like, you know, we talk about a lot of other things like feminism and
dating,
relationships, and like all of that other stuff. And like every time I've brought that up, anytime I have talked to somebody about that, they have a story for me. They're
and then my tattoo was done before Erika's because she got started like way later than me. So they were okay with me going in her little booth and sitting there and talking with them. While we are standing in there, she gets a Valentine's Day delivery because it was Valentine's Day. She gets a Valentine's Day delivery with flowers, a teddy bear, and a heart-shaped box of those Russell Stover disgusting chocolates. And like we were cackling. So she had already told Erika this story about this dude that she was seeing, and they broke up this week.
Yes.
Like, they broke up on Monday before Valentine's Day. So she was already like kind of raw talking about it.
Yeah.
So then she gets this delivery while we're in the room with her tattooing. And Erika and I immediately looked at each other and we're like, those chocolates are garbage. Yeah. Those chocolates, that doesn't mean that he likes you. He's just trying to get back in the sack with you.
No, we were like, no, those aren't good chocolates. He's not being thoughtful. He's being cheap.
Yes. Yes. And this tattoo artist, Violetta, she was just so precious. She was so adorable and talented. Like, your tattoo was wonderful.
Yeah.
And she was eating up every time we like had something to say. She was like, actually, that's right. That's right. And then she would like laugh at us.
Yes.
Which, first of all, just boosts my ego in general. If you're laughing at anything I say, I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Please tell me I'm funny all the time.
This weekend has just been so great on like a filling my cup type of energy where it's like, I feel like my cup is overflowing. And I'm going to take that energy back home with me. And then next week, when I get the offer for this job in Georgia, the next few weeks, guys, is going to be a fucking whirlwind. And just so that we have like that transparency in place, we're going to have a few weeks that are bye weeks, because moving into a whole new state, I got to pack up my life. I got to like wrap up my job in Missouri and then transfer. It's going to be a hot mess. So just as a heads up, there may be a potential of the next few weeks might just be bi-weekly new releases, and then the in-betweens are going to be just previous episodes. So also, and we've officially hit 1,000 downloads since we started this.
That is insane.
It's wonderful because I've talked to a lot of podcasters in the last couple of years, and there are some podcasts that like either the effort's not put in or they are understaffed and they can't or whatever. And some of them, like, they will release an episode every week for an entire year and they get maybe 100 downloads for the whole year, which is unfortunate. I want everyone to succeed because what are we all out here doing? We're all just trying to succeed.
There's space for all of us at the top.
Correct. And so for us to be, first of all, understaffed as fuck. For us to be where we are, but still have passion for this hobby and still have like the energy and the effort to give to a hobby like this and have 1,000 downloads with less than 50 episodes. I mean, I think we're only at 26 or 27 episodes. Less than 30 episodes and we have 1,000 downloads. That is awesome.
Yes. And also, I also want to give ourselves some credit that at no point in the last year, over a year, that you had your IT certificates. I had my divorce. Before that, my ex-husband was deployed and you moved twice, I think. And at no point did we ever like consider, I can't do this right now. It's too much.
Did we ever consider that it was a bad idea to have such a time-consuming hobby? No.
And it's because I've heard it from several people, but definitely Trisha from Sun Fox Books when she was like, you guys are just like, it's like shining the light on, it's not, the Facebook or Instagram version of ourselves. It's like the real version and it's really relatable and people are like, wow, like feel really seen. And first of all, Sarah and I both sobbed because it was the nicest thing anybody has ever said. But also like, that is exactly what we wanted. Like we're putting this out there because it is funny.
It is funny. It's on a trauma level. It is fun.
It is
because it's response to that. But okay, when we started releasing episodes on a regular basis, that was May. That was early May of 2024, right? That's when we started releasing like every other week and then moved to weekly in the fall. The fact that we've reached as many people as we have is humbling. It's such a great feeling because 99% of the people that we talk to about the podcast are like, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Totally relatable. I've been there, done that. I'm still in it. I'm going through that. Like it's excellent. On a selfish level, this is my hobby. It doesn't matter if we don't make money on this. It doesn't matter if we have 10 listeners and more than half of them are our friends and family. It doesn't matter because this is a hobby and I fucking love it.
And I think I talked about my friend Greg. Jesus. Greg.
Stop it. Not right now.
In my head, I swear to God, I'm like, I don't have an accent, but I say shit like ketchup and egg and like 100.
I mean, listen to the Canadian sitting over here who was like, oh my God, did you hear about it?
Yes.
Did you hear?
Your Midwest was so bad last night. It was amazing. But yeah, because a lot of our listeners are men, which is wild.
It is wild. Every time I look up our demographics, I'm like, this is crazy. No, I will say, since the new year, I think we've reached more female listeners at this point. But I think it's because we have those personalities where people are sort of like, they sort of gravitate towards that. And we are like 4 women. And so the majority of people that we talk to are women. And so I think that demographic might change. But for the first, we'll say, year of the podcast being out there, our main demographic has been men 25 to 45. So now one of them is my brother.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. But he's a family member.
Yep.
But that can't account for all of friends and family can't account for all of them.
And it was so nice to hear, like, my friend Greg talk about...
Greg.
I'm old Greg. Sorry.
Excellent.
He, a couple of times, was like, I had no idea this was your experience, or like, I learned so much from this episode.
Correct.
because like I didn't know it was like that. Like I didn't realize that this is what it was like, or like I didn't realize this was like this was a woman's perspective or whatever. And that it was just really validating that, like, I mean, obviously not everyone is going to hear criticism and take it as
constructively as they should,
or as like a learning experience, but like, you know, just being able to like do that and have, even if it's just a couple of people are like, wow, like I don't, if nothing else, like I don't want to contribute to the patriarchy, which I will harp on this until I die. The patriarchy is bad for everybody. It is bigger than men. It is bigger than women. It's not just like, it is a system, and the system is not beneficial for anybody.
Yep.
So when we talk about the patriarchy, we're not saying like we hate men. Sometimes we do. But that's not, when I say the patriarchy, that's not what I mean. If I'm angry, if I'm like, I hate men, I will just say that. But it's so, and this is one of the things, like, this is one of the reasons why it's so important to talk about things like this, because I think legitimately, and whether or not that's fair or right, or they have an excuse or whatever, there are a lot of people that don't have that perspective or think that they're alone or genuinely do not think about their perspective or the perspective that we have at all, or if anybody else has that perspective or whatever. And I think that that's important. And I love, honestly, like I said, in this like really selfish way, like I love getting the validation of somebody being like, I learned something from you, or like you made me feel not alone, or whatever. Like
it's not even like I wouldn't necessarily, okay, for me anyway, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's selfish. It is very nice to hear, just on we do put a lot of work into this. A lot of work goes into this, scheduling and carving out the time for us to have a couple of hours to do this. Literally, I traveled here with like 5 suitcases and half of it was podcast equipment. Like like I said, I'm going to superimpose the picture of our setup in here, but like just figuring this out and being in person, now we have to tear it all down and set it up again tomorrow because we want to try to fit in one more recording while I'm here. And it's excellent, but it is a lot of work. So when someone says, hey, I listened to your show, like our friend Cassie, who lives in Charlotte, she is amazing. I spent the night with her on the way to see Erika Friday morning. And she and I stayed up for like 3 hours talking. She cooked me dinner. Thank you for that. It was excellent. It was like steaks and sweet potatoes and spinach. And oh my God, it was so good.
Delicious.
And she grilled it too, which was just amazing. Anyway, so we talked about the podcast a little bit, and like she wanted to know what I was doing in North Carolina while I was here. And she said that she's like self-isolated so much in the last few years. She has a stay-at-home job and she moved to Charlotte. She still doesn't know a whole lot of people. So she's really self-isolated. And she said, and I love this for us, she said that sometimes she'll turn on like YouTube or she'll turn on Spotify and she'll listen to us. And she like, while she's doing other things, or if she's just sitting playing on her phone, she talks back to our conversation like she's in the middle of it, like she's with the girls and getting the tea. And I'm like, I love you so much. Like, it made my entire day because, and she didn't quite say it in so many words, but it meant that she didn't feel so alone and so isolated.
Yes.
And I was like, my heart just clenched because I was like, that is so cool. And we've had other people, like my girlfriends in Romania, they will turn on YouTube of us while they're cooking dinner. And they're like, I get to see my friends on the TV from another country to listen to them. And I agree with half the shit that you're saying.
Yes. Or there was somebody else that was like, I genuinely do not remember who it was, but they were like, I listen to your podcast and I just feel like I already know you. Which it's like, they're, what did they say? They were like, it feels like we're already friends, is what they said. And
we are now.
Yeah.
Now that you've complimented me in such a beautiful way.
Yes.
You're my best friend now.
Yes.
And I don't know who you are.
Exactly. And I'm like, that is so like That's what I want. I want that's what I want. I
Yeah,
want to.
It's lovely in a sense too that like if we can make just one person, just one, feel less alone, to feel less isolated, or to feel like they, oh my God, I experienced that too.
Mhm.
That's everything I need. It's everything I need because I know that we're helping one individual person. If
Yeah.
it turns into more than that,
Great.
holy shit.
Think of all the times like in your life if you just had somebody that was like, and not in like a strictly like, because like uh, therapy is important. Having like friends to talk to are really important. Having like family support, all that is important. But there is a very specific, or at least for me, like desire to have my perspective validated and also be able to make fun of it at the same time. Like if you're not, I can't, people that are like, oh, that's a trauma response. Yes, I know, but it's also funny. I'm also funny.
I agree with you.
Right?
It's what we do.
Yeah.
So that being said,
Let's wrap it up.
done.
All right. This is I have an audience now. This is the worst part. This is the part I'm talking to you, Selena. This is the part that I watch every single time.
Which isn't entirely true. Have I started the book though? It's pretty good.
Is it?
It is
I have not yet, but it's been highly recommended.
Monster romance is still not my thing.
No, it's not my
but
thing
past
either.
Morning Glory Milking Farm, I'm so much more open to it. That book is so good.
I know. I still can't look at a 24-ounce glass bottle of milk.
Not at all. Not at all. And never will I drink milk out of a glass bottle like that again. Never.
Never.
Not at all. It couldn't even be chocolate milk.
No.
Nope.
No.
This is Selena. She is Erika's roommate, and she is excellent. She's also been taking photos of us recording because we're in person. And so it's been really nice to like knowing that we're gonna have like some, studio-esque photos or whatever. Like pretty pumped about that. But this Selena, say hello.
Hello. You're so short compared to you.
Sorry. Thanks.
She's a delight.
Take it back. I complimented her because this is her house, and I complimented her on like, I'm a total stranger. I feel welcomed. I literally took over your fucking living room to set up.
Yes.
Like I moved furniture and I was like, are you okay if we, and she's totally fine.
Yeah.
So it's been, and we got to hang out last night at Emo Prom and she looked adorable.
Oh, so good.
You looked precious. So can you talk a little bit about your photography and like the dance studio stuff that you do? Because we're here for shameless plugs. You do you, and I'm going to link your shit in the show notes so that people can come and follow you.
Okay. I feel so awkward. I'm not gonna lie.
You just say it, and any mistakes or anything she can edit out.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Can you edit my face?
No, because then you would look too good.
Thanks. Sorry. Okay. So,
Selena is she's also immensely talented. She's taking her pictures. What is your photography business called?
Freckle Face Photography.
And what kind of photography do you do?
Honestly, anything I can. So I will say I'm definitely like more into the dance photography, especially since I've been dancing since I was 12 basically. And so with that in mind, I'm also a dance instructor. So having that instructor, that dance background, and then kind of, what's it called? It's like putting my toes in the water. No, actually, I don't know where I was going with this.
You already understand like the movement and what you're already familiar with.
Oh yeah. So like trying to
dance.
also like, and then getting into photography, it's just kind of like, well, I have a lot of students. I have this dance background. I like dance photography. So it's mainly that. But, like, I still, like, I have friends, like, if they get married or if they're expecting a baby or, they had the baby and they want pictures of their baby, you know? So,
She's also taking pictures. She took pictures of us during our
yeah.
recording.
So, like, I'm down to try anything
Mhm.
unless it gets weird. Some people are weird. Like, feet pics?
No thanks.
We don't do feet pics
You heard
here.
it here first. We don't
Not
do
even
feet
for
pics.
$100,
You're worth at least $500.
at least. I got bills to pay now.
Amazing. That was so good. That was so good. That was perfect. Okay, with that, we are going to wrap up. I'm trying to remember. Oh my god, this is the worst. This is the worst part because I'm like, words.
Book club?
The book. Yes. Lit my attentions. Me too.
Just a reminder that our episodes are going to be a little sporadic over the next
Yes.
2 weeks as Sarah accepts a new job.
Mm-hmm. Discord, merch. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to leave a review, share, and like us on socials. Join us on the Discord. The link tree will take you everywhere. We have merch still. Remember to buy something for your weird conservative uncle. We will be at KC Book Beats Lit and Libations in Kansas City May 10th. And with Sarah getting a new job, we're manifesting, it's happening. Our episodes might be a little sporadic. We might have to go to every other week for a little bit, but we will come back to the every week schedule. This month's book is Halfling by S.A. Wendell. It's very good. And with that, we love you. Without you, we would be trotting into the void.